What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From the Bench. I'm your host, Will Meadows, and today is our Monday edition of the show where we're going to be reacting to everything that happened this past weekend involving Vol Sports. But before we get into anything, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment how you felt about the game. Football, obviously, we all know what happened with Georgia, but also there was a basketball game this past Sunday against Austin Peay where the Vols got a big win. So let me know what you guys thought about those big games. And, well, one big game and a mediocre game, and let me know what you guys think. But before we start talking about that, obviously, a little new look for me. I buzzed all my hair off Friday after school. I didn't have anything to do until practice, and I got bored, and I just went and shaved it all off. I don't know why. I don't have a reason. I just got bored. So it'll grow back its hair. Oh, well. I don't really care that much. The only thing that was annoying about it is I had games this past Saturday for basketball, preseason scrimmages for my high school, and the sweat was just all over my face. My hair is usually pretty thick, and it sticks in my hair. Sweat doesn't usually come down my face a bunch, but it was just pouring down my face. So that's the only downside I've experienced from it so far, and my head's pretty cold sometimes. But that's besides the point. You guys don't listen to this podcast to hear about Will Meadows' hair. You're here to talk about Tennessee sports. We all watched the game Saturday, and another tough loss. I say another it's only the second of the year. But, I mean, just a tough one to lose in Athens. And, I didn't – some people are going to be like, oh, of course you're going to say that. I watched the game with a bunch of my buddies. I had a bunch of people over to my house to watch the game. And I told them all I think my score prediction I said on the show was 27-24. I was trying to keep some optimism that Friday. But then leading up to the game – I was like, no. And my score prediction was 34-17, so I was a field goal off. The score is 31-17. And I'm not going to lie, just exactly what I thought was going to happen happened. Everyone, when I was telling my buddies out there, no way Carson Beck and that offense scores 31 on our really good defense. And I was just like, I've seen Tennessee Athletics think things are really good, and then when it matters most, they disappear. And that's exactly what happened to our defense. They were non-existent all night. No pressure on this supposedly the best defensive line in the country that we all like to say we have. And don't get me wrong, it's still a great defensive line, but, Carson Beck didn't get sacked once, and we allowed him to step up in the pocket and make throws all night. He finished the game with 347 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he also he added another touchdown on the ground with his legs. So, just a tough game all night. Nico finished the game 20 of 33 for 167 yards. And Nico, he played his heart out. He didn't do anything that wowed you, but he didn't mess anything up. Our receivers did him no favors. Dropped balls, no separation. Just no help there at all. Dylan Sampson finished the game with 19 rushes for 101 yards and a touchdown. He played solid, didn't fumble it like he has the previous 3 games before Georgia, so, that's a plus there, I guess. Miles Kitselman had 4 catches for 46 yards and a touchdown, but his touchdown was on the ground. It was our first touchdown of the game. It was a rushing touchdown for Miles Kitselman, and after that first drive, you and me both, to whoever's listening to this, we were all kind of like, whoa. That's the perfect first drive you could ask for. Forced a 3 and out and then got the ball and drove down pretty easily. So that was pretty upsetting. To not even score a point in the second half was just draining to watch. And Squirrel White had 6 receptions for 45 yards. And other than that, I think Brew had 5 catches for 38, but nobody else really did much. Peyton Lewis had 6 carries for 30 yards, I think it was. But, just a depressing game to watch, especially in that second half. I kind of had the mindset, well, we're winning now, or whatever the score was at halftime. I think we were winning. And I was just like, we're a second-half team, as it is, so maybe this is a good sign. No, that was not the case at all. Just pure domination by Georgia in the second half, and we just didn't have an answer for it at all. Like I said, I kind of had some hope because I thought we were a second-half team, and that was just not the case. They dominated us in the trenches. They dominated us through the air, on the ground, They just, in every aspect of football, they beat us in the second half. We couldn't get anything going, and it was really just not depressing because I hate saying that word, but a really rough second half to watch. When you put so much, like, everyone always said, like, defense travels. That's what everybody's motto was for this team, and not this team because that saying didn't come out with this team, but everyone has said defense travels, and that's why I kind of had a little bit of hope in difference to some other Tennessee teams on the road, and especially years prior in big games like Georgia. It's been offense. And when you get in big atmospheres and rough atmospheres like Athens, Georgia, and Sanford Stadium, on offense, you false start, and your cadences get messed up, and communication gets messed up, and it's hard to hear. And, that wasn't really the problem. I don't even recall a false start. Maybe one, I know from Lance Hurd, but not a ton of, hearing problem miscues by the Vols. So that's why I had a little hope was, the term defense travels. Why wouldn't it? And it didn't at all. And I stood corrected. The defense was nowhere to be found. No pressure, nothing to the air. Jermon McCoy was getting beat when he usually doesn't. And Jermon McCoy didn't look like himself, in my opinion. Especially on that catch, was it Dominic Lovett, or I don't remember what receiver it was by Georgia, but it was earlier in the game. It was their first big play of the game. It was like 31, 38 yards, and Carson Beck kind of threw it, and the dude adjusted and made a great catch on the ball, and Jermon McCoy just kind of bumped him instead of really tackling him or making a play on the ball. But, obviously Jermon McCoy is one of my favorite players on the team. I'm not pinning this all on him. You could point a lot of fingers. Dante Thornton had some key drops, but obviously no one's pointing fingers here. It was a collective loss by the Vols. But, you just got to finish out the season strong and, like I said, make the committee leave you out, because right now there's going to be so many 10-2 teams in the SEC and things like that. And like Penn State is, as a Tennessee fan, you're going to have to be a Florida fan this weekend, which a lot of people never thought they'd say, a Minnesota fan, in my opinion, an Indiana fan, and an Oklahoma fan. I think that's this weekend. Yeah, it is this weekend, because then they've got Auburn. Because Florida, if they beat Ole Miss, I think we get in if we win out. The reason I say, or Minnesota, if they beat Penn State, I think 10-2 Tennessee gets in over 10-2 Penn State, I think pretty easily. But I don't think that's going to happen. Penn State's a solid football team. A lot of people just don't want to give them credit because they don't play anybody, and I don't blame them for saying that. The reason I say Indiana is if Indiana wins, that makes Ohio State a 2-loss team. I do think they put a 10-2 Ohio State over a 10-2 us, which is unfortunate because Ohio State doesn't have any good wins besides Penn State. They play nobodies after that. And again, a lot of people are going to make that case and Tennessee fans are going to make that case. We only have one other really good win, and it's Alabama. So, a lot of teams could say that. But if Minnesota loses, or if Minnesota beats Penn State, that goes out the door. But the reason I say Indiana is that makes Ohio State already a 2-loss team. And then I think Michigan could. I don't really think they will at all. But Ohio State has a better chance to lose their last game than Indiana does, is my reasoning behind that. And a 10-2 Tennessee would get over over a 9-3 Ohio State, and then Oklahoma to beat Alabama because 9-3 Alabama wouldn't get in. Just a lot of ifs and buts and candy and nuts are gonna be on the watch list for Tennessee fans, and I feel like the UTEP game is gonna be the kind of the least of our worries this weekend, as we're gonna be worried about other people, but. The UTEP game is kind of a give-me, even though, as we say on the show all the time, you can't take anything for granted in today's college football, but UTEP's a little different. That's kind of a game where you know you're going to win, and move on to 9-1, or no, 9-2. I'm sorry, but you just got to take care of business and make the committee leave you out, like I said. Speaking of taking care of business, shying away from the football aspect of things, because we've kind of said all we need to say about that, and we'll talk more about the rest of the SEC on Wednesday. But the basketball aspect of things, Vol Hoops are taking care of business. And if you haven't been watching, obviously, like I said, and I know it's majority football season, and it's the prime of football season. You're in the postseason, but the basketball team is really good. They beat Austin Peay yesterday evening. It was a 3:00 game, 103-68. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt, as it was Austin Peay. But this team is good. We had 5 people in double figures, led by Igor Milicic he had 23 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. He also had 2 steals. Very handsy defender. And Igor Milicic has been great for us all year. Gotten some foul trouble in that Louisville game last weekend, but he has been great for us. Felix Okapara, 12 points, 7 rebounds. Zakai doing Zakai things, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. I think he only missed 1 shot. Gainey, 15 points off the bench, and we're going to need that all year. Last year in basketball, we leaned on that fella right there for a large amount of our points, and that's why I kind of have said and felt like this team is better than last year's, because there's so many guys that can do it. We had 5 guys in double figures today, and our best player only scored 5 points, or one of 2 best players, as Igor is making the case for the best player too. Well, and Zakai. Everybody's going to want to say Zakai. Our best scorer, in my opinion, only had 5 points today, and Chaz Lanier. Gainey, off the bench, going to have to be more consistent, like he has been good all year. Last year he was a little inconsistent. Gainey, 15 points off the bench, played a great game. Cade Phillips has been the biggest surprise to me and to a lot of Tennessee fans all year. Was kind of an afterthought. When we thought of sophomore jumps, we thought of Cameron Carr, as some NBA mock drafts had him going 7 or something like that. A few of them did, and not throwing shade at Cam Carr, but Cade Phillips has been a lot better. Cade Phillips had 13 points and 9 rebounds today, and not even watching the box score. If you've watched him this year and watched some Tennessee basketball games, especially in the Louisville one, just constant energy off the bench by him, and he's been a pleasant surprise for Tennessee fans and for this basketball team. Just a second wave of intense defense, and he's been great. He's been a great threat in the pick and roll game as a lob threat for Zakai, and he's just physical. He's down there and he's beating and banging, and he's played great basketball so far this year. And he is a Tennessee basketball player, and you'll see it if you watch him. Just hard-nosed. I'm going to go play harder than you, and I'm going to play good defense while I do it. And then Meshack, speaking of good defense, 10 points. He had 8 free throws, and the Vols are on fire. We're 4-0. I feel like this is a top 10 team in the country right now, and maybe the best team in the SEC. We all know the SEC is loaded. Arkansas is good. Florida's good. Kentucky's really good. I don't know if anybody got the chance to watch that Kentucky and Duke game. Alabama's good, even though they just lost to Purdue, and that hostile environment was awesome. Seeing that game, Purdue's a solid team too. But I think this Tennessee team's a top 10 team in the country, and arguably the best team in the SEC. 4-0 right now, with 3 wins being against not very good teams, and obviously the one test we had, we beat Louisville very handily. Is that how you'd say that? But they've got UVA coming this Thursday, which should be a solid game. UVA's 3-0 or 4-0 now. Championship pedigree in that program. Virginia has won a championship in the past few years. Obviously, we know Tony Bennett's not there anymore. Their legendary head coach and Hall of Fame head coach. But there's still championship pedigree over there. That's a solid team. And the Vols are going to have to bring their best on Thursday for a 9:30 tip on CBS to get that win. And that's going to be another test versus a solid team from the ACC. I think that's part of the ACC-SEC challenge. So that's going to be a great game. The basketball team's trending in the right direction. And, you can't really say much, but keep it going. Kind of the opposite, not the opposite, but the football team is not the basketball team right now. They're not undefeated, obviously, and we all know how different that sport is, but the football team's just got to take care of business, win these next 2 games, and handily, and like I said, make the committee leave you out is what you're going to have to do. Off the top of my head, thinking playoff-wise for the football team, you've got Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, Penn State, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss. I feel like I'm missing another SEC team. I don't think I am. Who is this other? The Big 12 champion, the ACC champion, and Boise State, who is the group, because you got to have the Group of 5 team in there. That's 11 right there. And it's 12. We're 10th in the AP poll for football right now, and it'll be interesting. I think it's Tuesday night when the college football rankings will come out. I think we'll be through the 11 and 12 range, but you got to think that's like that -3 is what I keep saying, because you're going to be ranked over both of the Big 12 teams, both of the ACC teams, and probably the Group of 5. So I don't know. You're just going to have to cheer for a lot of teams to lose, and Tennessee's got to take care of business. But that's all you can really say about it. But we got to clean up our own stuff before we worry about other teams losing. But I think we will. I think we're going to get back on track against UTEP this weekend, and then handle Vanderbilt the next. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But thank you guys for all the support you guys have given me on the last few episodes. I really am enjoying doing this, and with football and basketball season here at the same time, there's so much to talk about. Obviously, today, you lost for football, and then you beat a bad team in basketball. So there's not a ton to say about that. This is it's just kind of the reaction for the football game, because, you wanted to win, but did you kind of expect it? Yeah. So, you just got to wonder when a big win on the road is coming for a Josh Heupel coached Tennessee football team. And, we've got some people complaining about a 10-2 team right now, which is dumb, or a team that should finish 10-2, which is dumb. But a lot's on the line these next 2 weeks, and we're just going to have to take care of business. But thank you guys for watching. And again, like I said, thank you guys for all the support. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment what you think needs to change, or what you didn't like about the game this past Saturday. I know there's a lot of things people didn't like, and some being the officiating. I'll never be one to say officiating is the reason you lose a game. But let me know what you guys thought of the game, and thank you guys for watching, and go Vols.